listening to the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. Radio's authority on the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology, celebrating 25 years of broadcasting. Broadcasting around the world and to the great beyond.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome back, everyone. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell, and we're coming to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. If you'd like to give us a call, 800-610-7035, worldwide toll-free. Email xzone@xzoneradiotv.com on all social media sites, X Zone Radio TV, and our main radio site where you can listen to the X Zone, 724, 365, including the show that we broadcast Monday through Friday from 8 p.m. until midnight Eastern. Once again, that website is xzoneradiotv.com. Brand new podcast site, xzonepodcast.com. My guest this hour is Michelle Arbeau. She is an internationally recognized celebrity numerologist, author, and inspirational speaker, featured columnist for LotteryUSA.com, and CEO of Authentic You Media. She has Hollywood clientele that includes Twilight vampires, Big Bang Theory actress, Pirates of the Caribbean actor, NBC director, celebrity stylist, Candace Cameron Bure, Lori Petty, comedian George Wallace, and many, many, many more. She has a couple of new books that we're going to be talking about over the next hour. The Energy of Words, Use the Vibration of Language to Manifest the Life You Desire, and Soul Numbers, Decipher the Message from Your Inner Self to Successfully Navigate Life. And they're the product of combining her love for numbers with her passion of helping others to find purpose, meaning, and joy in life. Here's her website, Exonation, MichelleArbeau.com. That's MichelleArbeau.com. And Michelle joins us tonight from Los Angeles, California. And Michelle, welcome to the X Zone. Great having you with us tonight.
It's awesome to be here. Can you hear me okay? I switched you to speaker.
It sounds as if you're right next door to me in the next studio.
So it's not so good.
No, it's pretty good.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, no, it's really great. Let me ask you, how did you get involved in numerology? What was it that kind of took the inner you and say, you know what? I'm going to make a difference in so many people's lives by using numerology. What happened?
Okay, so I fell into it completely. I was actually...
all right, Michelle, my producer is saying that your speaker phone is gating, which means it's cutting out. So if you could use the handheld again, that would be great.
Is that better?
Much better.
Okay. All right, so I fell into it completely. I was from a corporate banking HR background, and I was working for CIBC. Totally wasn't spiritual in the least. Didn't even really realize anything other than the physical. And right around 23, 24, I started to dream in numbers. It was the weirdest thing that had happened to me. And I wrote all of these numbers down. It was license plates, doors, just on blank, black screens in my dreams, anywhere in my dreams.
Michelle, I hate to interrupt you, but you're still cutting in and out. We're getting word space, word space, word space.
A little bit of an echo.
Yeah. What we're going to do is we're going to take an early commercial break. We're going to call you back on another line, and hopefully we can circumvent the problems that we've been having. Exonation, Michelle Arbeau is my special guest this hour. We're going to try and get Michelle back on another line. After all, this is live radio, and this is what happens. Sometimes technical glitches arise, but I've got to tell you something. My producer, Craig, is the best in the industry, and we will be back with Michelle as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Once again, 1-800-610-7035. Email xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, on all social media sites, X Zone Radio TV, and our main radio website, xzoneradiotv.com. I am Rob McConnell. This is the X Zone. We'll be back on the other side after we take care of some commercials and fix the technical glitch that we're having so we can listen to our guest, the one and only Michelle Arbeau. We'll be back. Don't go away.
You're listening to the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
And we're back, Exonation, and my good producer Craig West was able to do his technical magic. We have Michelle Arbeau back. And Michelle, thank you very much for standing by as Craig did his magic. But so for the listeners, can you repeat what made you turn to numerology and help so many people using your gift?
Yes. Okay. So I put you back on speaker. So let me know if it's okay. But I wanted to put you on speaker so I can do my little magic on my little notepad at the same time, because I know I'm going to have to do that. So if I'm not clear, let me know. But yes, so the way that I came into numerology was just incredible to me, because I'm very scientific. I'm very what you'd call practical spirituality, because I hadn't grown up in any kind of traditional religion, any kind of spirituality whatsoever. I didn't really even recognize that there was anything other than the physical. So I came from a corporate background, corporate HR, in banking, CIBC, and that's really all I knew at the time. And right around 23, 24 years old, I started to dream in numbers every single night. And it was the weirdest phenomenon. I had never experienced anything like that. I did have a near-death experience when I was 4, and I don't know whether that had something to do with, a lot of people say there's an awakening that happens when we have near-death experiences. So I don't know whether that might have triggered something that happened to me later on. I have no idea, but I do know that I wrote these numbers down that I saw on license plates, I saw them on street signs, I saw them on people, doors, you name it. Anything in my dreams, they were there. And they were long number sequences. Sometimes they were short. It was all over the spectrum. It was just this crazy thing. And so I wrote them down on a notepad for about 3 months. And then I thought to myself, this is crazy. I've really got to figure out what's going on. So I started to do a little research and stumbled upon numerology. And I fell in love. I thought, wow, these are all messages to me. And every time I would translate a number pattern, it would be an answer to what was going on in my life at the time. So I thought, this is just blow your mind crazy, off the hook, something that is just otherworldly. Because remember, I wasn't spiritual, I wasn't religious, I didn't even believe in any of that stuff. I didn't even know it existed. And I came from a very small town. You know, Rob, I mean, you have relatives in St. John and,
yes.
and you know, the whole Miramichi type thing. And were you saying Miramichi? I can't remember what area, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, we're talking people who are about 20 years behind the times, if you know what I mean. So I really didn't know, and it just really blew my mind. I fell in love with it completely and utterly. And in hindsight, I realized that I had a photographic memory for numbers and just numbers. If you could tell me, you know, names, forget it. I'd never remember. But numbers, if I get a new phone number, if I get a new bank card number, I remember those numbers, but I don't remember anything else like that. So it's just really intriguing to me. I think it's my gift. Well, I know it's my gift. And I haven't met anyone like me that has been able to translate the numbers the way that I do. And I don't believe that I'm any more special than anybody else. What I do believe is that because of the fact that I can translate, I am the messenger. So it is the science of numbers that is always accurate, and I'm just the deliverer of the message.
So how would you describe numerology to someone who has never heard of it before?
Numerology is, like I said, the science of numbers, right? And I think that, I know for a fact that since that first near-death experience, I've had two more. So, I'm like a cat with 9 lives. I've got a few left. And I really, truly believe that the universe is built around numbers, and that if we could pull back the fabric of the universe, it would be digital code. And so I look at numbers, especially our date of birth, as like spiritual DNA. So if you were to look at your own DNA as the physical DNA, it shows you how tall you're going to be, what color your eyes will be, your hair color. It says a whole lot of things about you in terms of the physical sense. But our date of birth is like spiritual DNA, and it's never, ever wrong. And I've studied things like astrology, and there's always gray areas. But when it comes to math, 2 plus 2 is always going to be 4. It's never going to be anything else. So it's always accurate. And I'm not tooting my horn when I say that I've never been wrong. And it's not me that has never been wrong. It's that the science of numbers is never wrong. So I am just the translator.
I believe that our existence is a binary existence, that there are only 2 digits, 0 and 1. Everything is comprised of this. And how people relate to this binary world of ours, this binary existence, can be seen in so many examples. For example, good, evil, up, down, left, right, black, white, and the list goes on and on and on. Now, these are just very simple examples of what I mean by a binary system and how it relates to our everyday existence. But numerology, you've taken it, in my opinion, and created it into a science of its own. Now, having said that, Michelle, what can numerology do for us?
Well, the way you talk about the binary code is so true, because when we talk about the 1 and the 0, 1 is the first physical number, and 0 is a symbol of the infinite or spiritual awareness. So it's more of a symbol than a number. So it really is like polar opposites coming together, and that's what we are. We are souls in human form. And so 10 is the binary code. So it's so true. So when we talk about numerology, what can it do for us? Everything. It's like the owner's manual. We come with an owner's manual, and it's our date of birth. It shows us who we are, what we have to offer to the world, and how to do it. It's amazing. It's never wrong. It's always completely accurate. I've never had anyone not resonate with their numbers, and I think that my gift comes in not in the fact that I am a master at the numbers, but I'm really gifted with interpreting the science of numbers, and I think that's my gift. And so when I tell people about their numbers, it is because I'm able to really see them for what they are. And I really, truly see them as almost entities to me. They're very much energetic patterns or energetic codes. And it's very fascinating to me.
It's also very fascinating to me. And, it is in the same category, in my opinion, as astrology, where we're using science to validate parts of what many people think are the paranormal or the unusual. What is the most important thing that we can learn from the science of numbers?
Well, there's a lot of things we can learn, but the basic thing is you want to know why you're here. You want to know what you're here for, what your purpose is, what you can do to fulfill that purpose. That's the soul's goal. I mean, we come in here into this physical world, and we want to know, okay, what is our what is our mission? What is our thing that we need to accomplish?
Yeah.
So numerology can definitely tell us that, but it can also tell us so much more. It can tell us what our traits and attributes are. It can tell us how to use those traits and attributes. It can show us in relationships how to connect with someone else. If you think about the classic nagging wife and the tuned-out husband, you're talking about someone who is, with the nagging wife, she's very mentally based. She has a lot of mentally based numbers, or mental based numbers, I guess you could say. And then the tuned out husband who says, yes, dear, she's nagging again, he's got a lot of physical based numbers. So they don't really get each other on the same level. And it doesn't mean that they're not compatible. It just means that they're not relating on the same level. So what you can do for someone like that is say, listen, your wife is very mentally dominant. She might be an overthinker, an overanalyzer. Mm-hmm. She's not necessarily nagging. It's just that she gets into a place where she's, oh my goodness, what if this, what if that? And then the husband can be told that, but the wife can also be told that the husband is not ignoring her and dismissing her. He just doesn't get that because he's not in that realm. He's in the physical realm. He's in the realm that says, just go do it then. If you want to go do something, don't overthink it. Just go do it. And so they really don't get each other. But once you tell the other about the other person's energy, then they're like, oh, I totally get it. It's not about me.
It's like the old book, what is it? Women are from Venus, men are from Mars.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Why do so many people see repeating number patterns? Like one of the most talked about one is 1111.
I have a tattoo on my wrist of 1111, and my partner that I'm with now, I got this tattoo on my wrist 3 months before I met my partner, and my partner's date of birth is 1111.
Wow.
How does that blow your mind?
Right off. You're knocking me off my chair over here with that.
That's what I'm saying. So, I really don't know specifically what 1111 means. There are a lot of theories as to what it means. Whenever I see it, though, and this is something that's shared by a lot of people, is that when you do see it, it's usually before a big shift or before something big is coming down the tubes, so to speak, and it comes in waves. So most people see it for a while, and then they'll stop seeing it, and they'll see it again. And it has a lot to do with synchronicity. So when people see these number patterns, they're messages. They're really these synchronistic messages. And I think that a lot of mentally based people, and when I say mentally based, I mean that a lot of their numbers in their date of birth are in the upper plane, in the mind plane. They are very much aware of the number patterns, and they recognize them. So let's say you have someone who's very artistic.
All right, we're going to have a bit of a cliffhanger here because I have to take my news break at the bottom of the hour.
All right,
so please
let's
stand
have a
by.
cliffhanger.
All right, X Zone Nation, my guest this hour is Michelle Arbeau. And we're talking about numerology this hour here in the X Zone. If you'd like more information on Michelle, visit her website, www.michellearbeau.com. That's www.michellearbeau.com. And we'll both be back on the other side of this news break as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away.
You're listening to the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
Welcome back, everyone. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell. My very special guest of this hour, a fellow Canadian who now resides in Los Angeles, California, the one and only Michelle Arbeau. Her website is www.michellearbeau.com. Now, Michelle, as a fellow Canadian, what do you think about our new Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Justin Trudeau, based on his birthday?
I'm back and forth with him because it's so interesting that he's got such a young, vivacious, hashtag / this / that. He's on social media. It's really interesting to see that because I kind of bridge the gap with my, I'm 38, so I can kind of go either way. I'm kind of right in the middle. So It's neat to see both sides of the spectrum, but he's a 10, which I love. And I think that it's going to breathe a lot of new energy into that because we were talking about the 10 being that heaven and earth, that 1, which is the first physical plane number, and the 0, which is a symbol of the infinite or spiritual awareness. And so the 10s are really easygoing people. They're the ones that want to keep life light and interesting. They want to keep it above the line, so to speak. They don't want to delve too deeply into problems, so to speak. They want to make it fun and interesting. They want to have a good time. They want to have that extra drink. They want to be the life of the party. So, it's really interesting that he is a 10, and he's very supportive, which, he's got a lot of soul plane energy. He's very soul plane dominant. And we've seen that. There's a lot of pictures of him being, compassionate and yada, yada, yada. The whole political picture, painting him in the right light, that kind of thing. So you think that maybe that's just something that they're doing, but really he is very caring. I mean, there is a lot of caring energy. He's got the double 2s and the 5. He's very much able to read people, read what's going on, read the scenario. So I like him. I have to say I'm a little bit partial to him. And I'll tell you right now, I've never voted. I'm 38 years old, and I've never voted because I've never been intrigued by politics. However, he intrigues me. So if that means anything to you, however, his cycle is a 9, which is very, very high change. And he also has an outer cycle of 16/7, which means that there's going to be a lot of rapid, major change, not only with him, but with the country.
These are very, very trying times, no matter which political arena you're in. And, he comes from a good stock. I had the pleasure of knowing his dad, the late Right Honourable Pierre Elliott Trudeau. And, I was very happy to see Justin following in his father's footsteps. And I, too, believe that he's going to be very good for the country.
Yes, absolutely. And look at Alberta. I mean, the suicide rate is up. There's a lot of crash and burn going on. There's a lot of just down on your luck hard times. And I kind of am glad that I'm in the U.S., and that sounds like, to say I'm glad to be in the U.S., considering they had their own crash and burn and they're going toward another one. But Canada is really having their own right now. And so it's really, like you say, trying times. Yeah. But Justin Trudeau is really a breath of fresh air. That's all I can say is that he's really definitely a breath of fresh air. He's going to really do a lot of good for the country.
Yep.
He's going to really shift it in a 180-degree shift. So expect that and know that he's going to do it. But it's going to be hard on a lot of people because he's a system buster. And so what I mean by that is a lot of people who don't like change or that really aren't ready for change, it's going to happen because he's ready for it and he knows what to do and he can really read what's going on. So it's going to happen.
Have you done any numbers on the U.S. political candidates? It's like watching a three-ring circus all the time on the news channels. You've got Hillary and Bernie on one side, and then the other side you have Donald Trump. You've got Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, and then Dr. Ben and Governor Kasich, who aren't smart enough to get the hell out of the race yet. Does numerology, or have you done numerology on any of those people? And if so, what has it told you?
Well, for example, Hillary, and I was just doing your date of birth against my date of birth when we were at the commercial break, and we're both tier 3, and so is Hillary. So it's really interesting to see some of the candidates that are coming up in the U.S. election because it's almost a joke in a way to see Donald Trump go for president, because I think, he's having a great time. I mean, he really is. And
but people love him.
But I think, Hillary, the thing is with Obama and his wife Michelle, they were both 11. So they were the 11-11 pair. And I actually went on live TV in Canada on City TV, and I predicted that Obama would be reelected for a second term.
Right.
And there was a psychic in, I think it was Vancouver, that said it was Romney. So I don't know what happened to her career, but definitely Obama and his wife Michelle are both 11. So they were the ones that were the cage rattlers,
right,
so to speak. They were the ones that, she was in Target dresses and things like that, even though she didn't need to wear Target dresses. Money's secondary, but ironically, money is what needs to be fixed. So we have Donald Trump in there who is all about money, and I think he's so very wrong for the candidacy, because it's not really about the money. We need a new way to look at money. And, you and I are both tier threes. And as much as we would love to be rich and famous and wealthy and drive a Bentley and live in a mansion, we still are all about inspiration and really helping people achieve greatness and all those things. I mean, that's what we live for. We live to inspire other people. So if I were to vote, I would probably vote for Hillary over Donald Trump.
I've got to tell you, people love him. People love the fact that he is saying what other candidates are being held back by their buy-in to over political correctness. He's I don't think he holds anything behind the scene. There is no man behind the curtain with Donald Trump. What you see is what you get. And I really like the guy. Whether or not he's going to win the party, what choice do you have? You've got Ted Cruz, who, thank God, left Canada. I certainly want one here.
That's true.
Marco Rubio, he's really wet behind the ears.
I know.
And Kasich, and so it's going to be a very interesting race. And I must tell you, it's great breakfast cereal watching TV. Sure is. Because you know what? Donald Trump actually has no soul plane numbers.
And I did a reading, or I guess you could say it was a reading, on breakfast television about the electoral candidates for Alberta a few years back. And one of the candidates had no soul plane numbers. And the media was always waiting for the next off-the-cuff thing that she was going to say.
Right.
And so, yes, he holds nothing back, because a lot of these people who don't have any soul plane numbers are usually socially and emotionally challenged, so to speak. So they have what I call foot and mouth disease. Like Justin Bieber, who is also Canadian, is very much the guy that has foot and mouth disease, right? And so Donald Trump has double fours, and anyone who has double fours is all about the money. And I hate to say it, as much as we like that he's really real and really seems authentic and seems like he's no BS and he's telling the truth, he really is telling the truth. But he is about the money. So do we need someone in the office that is all about the money to fix the money issues?
Sure.
Or do we need someone like Hillary Clinton, who is inspirational but also has all of the physical numbers?
Yeah, I understand that, people look at Hillary, as having the numbers like you just said. But however, Hillary Clinton is under investigation by the Federal Bureau of Investigation. The IRS has got their eyes on her. The Senate committees are still investigating Benghazi, of which she was in charge of as the Secretary of State. So what does this tell you about the person? Even though the numbers are showing one side, her actions are showing another.
Well, it doesn't paint a very good picture for you and I, Rob, because we're both tier threes like Hillary. So it doesn't look too well for us. But, I definitely think that initially speaking, when the election was first announced, when the candidates were first announced, I thought definitely Hillary. But, I do have my coins in Donald's basket because, yes, he's off the cuff. He acts a little crazy. He says what's on his mind. He doesn't have any filter, and some people don't like to hear the truth, and they're not ready for the truth. So I wouldn't think it would be such a bad thing if he were in office. I think that the U.S. needs the money problem to be fixed. Because I'll tell you right now, I have friends in the U.S. who have like 20 credit cards. And I'm thinking, I'm from Canada, and if we had 20 credit cards, we would be looked at as crazy. I mean, we have one or two, and that's it. And these people are like, okay, I have 20. And it's no big deal. And then after this crash we had in 2008 here, they are back to sending all of these things in the mail again with, here's your credit card, let's sign up. So it's right back to where it started again, back down the tubes. So we need someone like Donald who is going to say it like it is and just like no BS, no sugarcoating. And he doesn't have any sugarcoating. He has no whipped cream with a cherry on top, let's just say that. So I don't think it would be all that devastating. As much as people want to think it would be devastating, I don't think it would be nearly as devastating. I think it would really kind of shock and awe everything. So it would probably be a good thing for a little while.
Let me ask you, you know how I feel about Hillary. I said it on air, and I've said it off air as well. But you say that's too bad because both you and I and Hillary have the same number. Now, what did you mean by that?
Well, it means our date of birth adds 30, which means that we're a pure 3. So we're all about inspiration. We're all about really inspiring other people, wanting to be the inspirationalist. So we've got kind of a one-track mind. It's like whatever we're doing, if you're doing a radio show, for example, or I'm doing numerology, I'm always wanting to inspire people. I'm always wanting to say, okay, this is you. Look how beautiful you are. Look how talented you are. And look at what you can do with what you have. And so that's really the goal, the ultimate goal with what we want to do. So that's the thing, okay. I feel bad in the sense, but there's always this negative side to the 3. And the negative side is that they're people pleasers. They really want to be people pleasers. They hate it when people are judgmental, and we're very self-critical and self-doubting in the negative. So that might have been where Hillary got into a little bit of a mess, where she wanted to be accepted and wanted to be, that kind of energy where, not looking badly. So that's, I think, where she got herself into a little bit of mess.
Let me ask you something. Quantum physics and string theory, do they bring validity to the science of numbers? And if so, can you tell us how and why?
Absolutely. And, I love the fact that quantum physics is on board with this because string theory says that we once thought that everything that was solid was matter, and matter was something that was hard and tangible, and we couldn't break it down. But in actuality, string theory says that matter or solid objects are actually frozen or slowed down light particles, which are energy.
Right.
So it really says that if everything is energy, like Pythagoras said, that even numbers have their own vibration, like musical notes, then it truly does give so much validity to the science of numbers.
Well, how can the normal or average person who has never, ever thought of learning how to do numerology, except they've heard you on the show tonight and say, geez, I'd like to learn about this. How can they do that?
Well, the first thing I would say is look at the base numbers, because every number in existence, if you could think of a number that was even like 13 digits long, let's say, it is all created with the numbers 1 to 9 and also 0, which is more of a symbol than a number. So in mathematics, we are playing with the numbers 1 to 9. And so these are our base patterns that make up the world, that make up everything, that are the vibrations to every single thing. I mean, this table that I'm sitting at, this phone that I'm talking on, it all has its own frequency, its own vibration, and it can be linked to a particular number. And, I wish I had a method to be able to say, okay, what does this phone vibrate to? What number is it? But we can't with some things just because we don't know what number it is, but these are the patterns that make up the universe. And so when we're talking about our date of birth, it's not random. And even our names, people think, our mom just stuck a name on us and, we have to live with it and we hate it, but it really is a representation of our personality. So when we look at our name, it is so very much a part of us that 99.999% of the time it's always a match, always. I mean, I haven't come across anyone that didn't say, yeah, my name does match me. I didn't realize, even though I hate it, it matches.
Let's say somebody asks you to do their numbers, and these people, their numbers add up to, oh my God, this person is just, well, they should consider changing their birth date or changing the numbers in their lives to create a better life. Is this possible?
Yes, it is. And, I'd often have people coming to me, and it's usually later in life, and they say, my name is Lisa or Lise or something, and they want to drop a letter or they want to add a letter or they want to, let's say if they're Lisa, they want to put 2 S's or something like that. They just, out of the blue, they'll contact me and say, I really feel like I need to do this right now. And I'll tell you, I was married, I'm divorced from this particular person that I got my last name from, Arbeau, which is French-Canadian. And I had a hard time taking that name on because I thought, gee, I'm losing my identity, and I really felt like I didn't want to change all of that. But I'm glad that I did because my professional name actually now adds to a 7, which is the Truth Seeker. And it's called the Teaching Learning number. So it's all about sharing truth with other people.
All right, so, I've got to share some truth with you right now. I've got to go to a commercial break. Please stand by.
We're going to cut it off, and we're going to do the cliffhanger again.
Exactly. Exonation, Michelle Arbeau is my guest. www.michellearbeau.com. And the topic is numerology. Speaking about numbers, I'll be back on the other side of this break as we continue from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away. You're listening to the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. Exonation, Michelle Arbeau is our special guest, www.michellearbeau.com. Michelle, as always, great having you on the show. Wish you much success, and of course, we're going to have you back on in the future. What can you tell us? We were talking about a person being able to change the numbers in their name or in their life to give them something much more positive. And unfortunately, we had to go to the break, so if we could just finish this off.
Yes, so the name, we were talking about that, and definitely you can change the name, vibration, or the frequency. And that happens all the time, and especially when women get married, they change their name, those kinds of things. So if you feel called to change your name, then it's likely that there's something happening in your life that you need to change your name. So do so. You don't fight it. I mean, that's something that could definitely shift you into a different career path, and it could be just a letter change, or maybe you're an author, writer, journalist, and you want to put your middle initial, or you want to take it out, whatever it is, follow that energy. And, also, you can't change your date of birth, of course, but you can change things like where you live, your address. And I've had some doozy of an address numbers, for sure, that really just completely changed my life. Like the 16-7 house, for example. If you have a house that the number adds to 16, and then 1 plus 6 is 7, it is a transitional house. It's very volatile interchange energy. Or a 5 house, for example. A 5 house is the number of the heart and emotions. It's going to really ramp up things and bring things up into your face. Also, the 8 house does the same thing, but even more so. It's called the divorce house because it really puts things front and center until you deal with them. So there's a lot of energies you can look at with numbers. You can look at numbers with pretty much everything. I look at the phone numbers. I look at license plates. You name it. I'm always looking at numbers to see what's going on in my world and what's going on in my life, and they're always messages. You don't think I got from Fredericton, New Brunswick to Los Angeles and West Hollywood just by sheer luck. It was from following the number messages. So I was able to get the O1 visa, which I call the Justin Bieber visa. And, it just was really a guiding force in my life. It really was.
We've got about a minute and a half left before we have to say so long. What do the numbers predict for 2016?
It is a 9-year, and it is the highest change year. So remember I was saying that the base numbers are 1 to 9?
Yeah.
So when we get to the 9th year, 9 is the beginning and the end of the cycle. So it is really a pivotal time for mankind. It is definitely a pivotal moment where we're going to end an era and begin a new era. So when we talk about the presidential candidates and all of that stuff, we need somebody in there. And, I don't know if I want to be on radio to say Donald Trump, but maybe we do need Donald Trump to take us into that 9th energy and change things up in a drastic way, because I think that still, even though that the U.S. has struggled, they're still the hub of the world, and they still dictate a lot of what goes on in the world. So it really is going to be so high change for so many people. And even though your personal year might be different than the actual global year, the global year is going to affect us all. So it's really, really high change on every single level.
Michelle, I want to thank you so much for joining us again tonight. Don't be a stranger. The door is always open for you, my fellow Canadian and friend down in Los Angeles, California. Continued success. And X Zone Nation, if you'd like to contact Michelle Arbeau for a one-on-one consultation, visit her website, www.michellearbeau.com. I'll be back on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away.